Actually, I'm going to perform People Get Ready from Jeff Beck, and then I'm going to teach you how to play it. And unfortunately, Jeff Beck passed away a couple days ago on January 11th, and it was a very sad day in music history. And so Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart, back in 1985, covered a Curtis Mayfield song called People Get Ready. And today I'm going to cover it. I'm going to do a little instrumental for you, and then I'm going to show it to you. It's very simple. It's basically four chords in the truth. A very pretty melody. So without further ado, I think I will go ahead and get to it. First, I wish you a happy Sunday. Cheers, y'all. All right, let's get to some music. Hopefully you can hear my guitar okay. Kick on a boost in a second. All right, I got a little backing track here too. I'll kick on, and if you're interested, if you want this backing track that I created for People Get Ready, just shoot me an email at info@Year Cherries, and I'll send that right over to you. Good morning, Ozman. How you doing? Give you a round of applause. So say hi to my man, Ozman, here in the house. Morning. Tom G. Good morning. Good to see you. So I will get right to it, but I want to say hello to my friends here real quick for a second. But I have a time code I'll put in there. So get right to the beginning of the performance. So I see how you guys are doing today. Hopefully you're caffeinated or drinking something. I know it's beer o'clock somewhere. All right, let's get to this song. People Get Ready. And very sad day a few days ago with Jeff Beck passing. He was such an influence on so many guitar players, including myself, and I'm sure everybody who's watching and who will watch in the future. So sad day, and he was so great in so many ways, Jeff Beck. You know, let me know what's your favorite Jeff Beck song, and I'd love to know. So many great ones, so many great albums. I did a cover of "Because We've Ended as Lovers" a while back, and check that out when you get a chance. So let's go ahead and play this. People Get Ready. I love this tune. Okay, do a little intro right here first. Here we go. All right. Give you a round of applause for listening to that. Thank you very, very, very much. Woo! That was fun. Very, very simple song, but, you know, got to get into it and feel it out and just have some fun with it. So thank you for checking that out. Let's see some of these comments here. Saw him play with Clapton. Saw him play with Clapton years age, and years ago. And Jeff stole the show. Well, I'm not surprised. You know, Eric Clapton is such an amazing blues guitar player and such a great player. But Jeff Beck's on like another planet, you know what I mean? He'll even tell you that. You know, I love me some Clapton, but man, Jeff Beck is just like, he's like all over the place, you know, with the stuff that he does and just everything's just so great. So very cool. Unfortunately, I never had a chance to see him, Jeff Beck, which is kind of tragic, you know. I mean, I never will now. It's a bummer. He paved the path for many. Osmond, yeah, he sure did. I mean, you look back and there's times you think of, like, you know, my favorite guitar players of the '80s were like, you know, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Yngwie Malmsteen, Angus Young. The list goes on. All those rock players, you know. So Jeff Beck, I didn't really get into too much later, when I realized that all my favorite guitar players, their influences were the guys of the '70s, like, and '60s. You know, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck. I mean, the list goes on. Gary Moore, and Leonard Skinner, the Allman Brothers, you know, Duane Allman, Dickie Betts. I mean, the list goes on of all those '70s guitar players that influenced all the guys that I grew up with in the '80s, right? Then you look back at a guy named like Jeff Beck, and he was pretty much the king of all of them. They'll all tell you that. Jimmy Page will even tell you that, you know? It's a great thing with, who said that with Eric Clapton? No, Alice Cooper said that recently. He said, Jimmy Page was the greatest rock player, Eric Clapton was the greatest blues player, and Jeff Beck was the greatest guitar player. I think he said it all right there, basically, right? Rajesh, how you doing? Give you a round of applause. Thanks for popping in here and hanging out. Very cool of you. And he did a Pavarotti opera tune in his style and killed it. Wow, really? I never heard that. I heard him do A Day in a Life. You know, I heard the news today, oh boy. On guitar, Jeff Beck. And man, love that. Love that. So, all right, so it's really not that hard of a song, but I'll just run through it for you so you can pick this one up. Basically, it starts off, and it only does this one time in the song. It does this progression right here, where it's a turn off the delay. Got some complaints before about having my delay on when I'm playing alone, like this. So it does this riff here, which is a D chord. You know, I got this sus4 right up here. Then I'm taking my thumb and I'm throwing it over, hitting the low F sharp, the third here, which is very common. Right there. Then he drops this D down to a. I'll put on this camera here so you can see this a little bit better. First D chord, then an F sharp right here. Then he drops to a D to a 7 chord, a D major 7. So we gotta see that from the D, dropping this down to the 2nd fret B string. So we go. Then go to a G here, and back to a D. So it's just the G. I'm hitting the G chord right up here on the 5th fret, G note, and then back to a D. You got the open E. So the whole riff so far is a. G, D, then do it again, then an A, and that A is a A7 with the sus4 right there. Got the A, hitting the D, the E note on the 2nd fret, D string, open G, and the D here. So here's a D7. I mean A7. I'm sussing it. I'm bringing it up. Sus means just sus4. Just playing the 4th here. So we got, you know, because an A7 dominant, it goes to D. But I'm hearing a sus4 here. I'm hearing this one. All right, Roger. Nice shirt. It's only rock and roll. I was wondering, like, what can I wear today for this Jeff Beck? It's only rock and roll. Fits. And basically, you know, the song, the progression is real simple. It does this the whole song, pretty much. It's just D, B, minor, and then the G, back to D. You can play all the inversions or whatever you want to play. You can, any way you want to play it or slice it, but it's basically a D chord, B minor, G. Does it over and over again until the end where it goes. That's twice, 3 times. Then it goes. But last time when it goes down, B minor, E minor, A, D. So that's pretty much the whole song. D, B minor, G, D. And diatonically, number-wise, it's a 1 chord to a 6 to a 4 to a 1. 1, 6 chord, 4 chord, 1. 1, 6, 1, 6 chord, 4, 3, and then you're going down from the 1 back to the 6 chord to a 2 chord, which is the E is 2 because D is 1, E is 2. Okay. And soloing over this is really simple because all you got to do is play the D major pentatonic. You know, right here. Which is basically just like your B minor pentatonic. Right? B minor pentatonic. But you're emphasizing the D note because it's a D major pentatonic. You don't want to play the B minor right there. You could at times when it hits the B minor chord. But really it's D major. How many times am I going to say that? It's D major pentatonic. And but you can, if you're familiar with this shape, which I've played, I stuck here the whole time. Here's the D chord right inside this pentatonic shape. Right? It's right there. Here's the D chord. So when it's D, I could just do noodle around here. And B minor, just put your finger there. Here's a G here. So all your chords are right here inside this pentatonic shape. Then you got the E. We got that E chord. The B minor. E. E. Into D. So you can really just kind of noodle all in there. One last thing I'm doing inside there too is I played the D minor pentatonic scale as well on the last turnaround of it. Where I would play here, I'd play a D major. All major. Then I go to D minor pentatonic. It's kind of cheating, but it's just adding more of a blues element to it instead of playing that D major happy all the time. Jeff Beck does a lot of that. It's basically minor over major, vice versa. So you can play over D major progression, D minor pentatonic, which you do a lot. We all do that a lot. It's very popular in rock. So I'm just playing. But I'm also micro bending. I'm taking that minor third, I'm bending it up a little bit. So it's not so minor. You know? Let's give it a little bit more of a... All right, hopefully you're enjoying that and picking up something on there. Rajesh, was the original by Jeff or Otis? I think the original was Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield wrote this song. And Otis Redding, I guess he was the guy who did it as well, right? Or maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I should know this, right? I thought it was a Curtis Mayfield wrote it. Otis performed it. But I think Jeff did it. Jeff and Rod did it later. Definitely later. Jeff and Rod Stewart did it in 1985. Chambers Brothers also did it. Oh, you meant Curtis? Because I think Otis did it too. That might have been a pretty famous version. Otis Redding singing that one. I have to look that up, because I've played it before in a cover band. It was like wasn't a band I was in, but we did like a 60s nights, and that was one of the tunes that we did. And I think I remember Otis Redding's version that we learned in 1985. Which was really funny about 1985. I released a video yesterday of I did The Power of Love guitar solo from the guitarist Chris Hayes of Huey Lewis and the News, and that song came out in 85. So it's kind of the 1985. It's kind of random. This version, basically, of the song is kind of comes from the Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck cover of "People Get Ready." You can check that out. I'm sure you've heard that one, 1985 classic. And but if you want to see that "Power of Love," I just did that, released that yesterday. I'll put a link in the description for that. Just check that out, "Power of Love." The reason I did that is actually it's a new Huey Lewis and the News tribute band that some friends of mine are putting together, and I'm part of it, and so I'm learning all the solos. That was pretty much one of the easy ones. They get some pretty intense going forward, but we'll get to that later. Curtis did the original. All right. Thank you, Rajesh. Cool name you got, Rajesh Gumber. Where are you from, Rajesh? The name's very interesting. I love it. Let's see. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for. Hopefully, you picked up on some of this. Oh, and of course, the main riff is a over the D chord. It's basically here's a D. It's a D chord. It's a D. It's an A, which is just the fifth. Then you're hitting the A above, which is a fifth. So here's a D chord right up here, right? Yeah, D. I'm hitting the D note on the 15th fret, B string. The A note on the 14th fret, G string. Back up here again to the D. And then the A note on the 17th fret, E string. Live in the UK, from India originally. Ah, it makes sense. Your name, it sounded Indian. Live in the UK, very cool. Namaste. Awesome, I love that. And then it does a key change. Towards the end of the song, it does this a few times. I think it was twice. And then one more time. And a key change up a half step. So the whole progression just shifts up. Before it was D to B minor, G to D, and now it's up, the same thing up a half step. E flat, C minor, A flat, same thing. Same progression up half step. Excuse me. E flat, C minor, A flat, and down. C, F minor, B flat. It's really the same progression. It's just a 1, 6, 4, 1. And on that last part, it's a 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. 2, 5, 1. It's just like. All right. So simple as that. So when it goes to that key change, and then what I did was I kicked on the distortion for that last solo. And I just emphasized playing the E flat now. Now I'm not in D anymore. I'm in E flat. Right? I did that whole thing in the pentatonic position. And once again, I did the blues scale, E flat blues scale. All right. So I really emphasized I'm not really playing too much or too fast. I just wanted to give as much feel as I could. And it's really kind of easy if you kind of limit yourself that way. You know, I don't want to limit myself. I want to kind of go for it. But the things that I really wanted to come across was the intonation, the bending, vibrato, like this. Just really kind of nailing the note, the timing. And on the soloing, just trying to really work on the bends, getting them in tune. Because to me, that's what really separates someone who sounds good from someone who doesn't. It's just that shows that if a guitar player is seasoned as well. Just how good that they do bends in vibrato. And that's one of many things that Jeff Beck did. He was the master of that. His vibrato was perfect. His intonation. As a matter of fact, Osman, you bring up a very good point here. You know, I wanted to break out my other guitar, my Hamer, because it has a tremolo, a Floyd Rose on it, and you really could do some, Jeff Becky stuff with it, but it didn't really sound like the Strat, and I don't know, for some reason I didn't break it out, and I'm not gonna. I have this kind of hard mounted onto the body, right here. But his Strats are all floating, like my Hamer with the Floyd Rose is floating as well, so I can actually pull it back and do some kind of cool stuff with that too. But there's a locking nut on there. On most of Jeff Beck's Strats that are float, all of them are floating. There's no lock on there, but it stays in tune because there are guys that are expert luthiers who know how to keep those things working properly. I don't really get into that, but I would love to. So he's able to do all that really crazy like vibrato stuff with his whammy bar, and part of his style. And also, he didn't really use a pick. I don't think I've ever seen him use a guitar pick. And the way that he uses the bar, he just plays melodies with them. There's a beautiful version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow where he's playing all the melodies by tapping harmonics and stuff. It's really beautiful. Definitely check all that stuff out too. He was the master of the whammy. Sure was. So let's keep Jeff Beck's music alive. Let's listen to him for the rest of the weekend. For the rest of your life, actually. Do it. So, thank you, Roger. That's very cool. Hopefully you picked up on some. I didn't really get into such detail, but, I broke down the chord progression. It's a very simple chord progression. That's what I love about it. And then I just broke down the scales that I played. And I played basically, when it was in D, I played D, major pentatonic. And I incorporated a little bit of D minor pentatonic in there. Just to kind of, give it that blues feel. Because in that version of him and Rod Stewart, he does a lot of that as well. And it's kind of typical in a rock sense to play some minor pentatonic over a major. Like I said, as long as you kind of do those micro bends, I think you're pretty good with that. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very, very, very much. And I'll briefly just tell you about, my guitar course I always like to, where it's called the Essential Skills Collection for Guitar. I go over fretboard memorization. I go over the circle of fifths and blues playing. And there's like lots of backing tracks in there and PDFs and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So please check that out when you get a chance. You see it at jerrycherry.com/courses. Not only $9.99. What a deal. So check that out when you get some time. Really appreciate that. And as a matter of fact, what's going on here? As a matter of fact, if you want this backing track that I created for the song, just shoot me an email at info@jerrycherry, and I'll send that out to you today so you could jam along to it as well. And I don't know, play along with it, record it, send it to me. I'd love to hear it. How you're coming along with that. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. I would appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. We'll do this all again next Sunday. It's at same time, same cherry time, same cherry channel. And let me know in the comments, though, what your favorite Jeff Beck song is. I would love to know. Have a great weekend. Tom and Osman and Roger and Rajesh. All you guys are awesome. Thank you. Tom G. Let me know what your favorite Jeff Beck song is in the comments. And if you want to hear a cover that I did of 'Cause We've Ended as Lovers, I'll put a video right there. So remember, be cool, be kind, and be cherry. Love yous. I'll see you next time. Peace, y'all. Bye, cherries.